Hello, babies. It's time for another Gungeon. You baby people, you tiny little infants. This is, what, 360... This will be 364? This is one away from a solid Anos. Anios? I don't know, I kind of have to rush this one. That's why I'm going just straight in, not getting any costumes, not getting anything. It's not a rush like the, like I'm gonna have to leave before the run is done, but if this ends up being like an hour and 30 minutes or whatever, then it'll be a problem. An hour and 15 is about what we had at starting. So we're gonna try to do some of the stuff quickly. I'm not going to worry about, I'm gonna try to do the run, my normal, like, thorough, fully, seeking everything style run, but I'm not gonna be dawdling, like extra dawdling. Maudlin levels of dawdling. Where is it? I would like a key. I know we got the fucking thing, we got the extra money basically, but I would really like a key because I'm very tired of doing the first floor boss with the rogue special. It's been happening a lot recently, and I am at shit's end of Shit's Creek, and I'm all the way up top it. These runs have had like relatively weak beginnings recently. I think most of the runs I've had, honestly, most of the runs I've had have had either the fucking finished gun or the chamber gun in just about all of them. It's weird that it's so noticeable. Oh, this is 2 bullet-kin connector rooms. This is a weird layout. But it's weird that it's so noticeable, man, when you don't get either of those guns because they're so freaking common. Damn it. Fuck. We can't dawdle, like I said, we gotta go for it now. Maybe even go for the other one, but hopefully get a key before then. Yikes, that was dumb. We did get a half heart. Aha, fart. Haha, fart. Getting hit is not the way to make more money. Alright, so the ability to steal would give us an awesome opportunity to increase our circumstances here. But again, very unlikely. If we do end up having to fight the boss with the rogue special, that will not be surprising. No other keys have dropped. And it could be one of those runs where okay. Yep. So that was a passive item. That was not the ability to steal, nor was it anything that's immediately useful. It will be long-term useful. Dude, people have been making a lot of fucking noise driving around here recently. Maybe it's just that I'm spending more time at home, so I'm like hearing how all day long there are people crotch rocketing and sirens going off. It's not super bad. It's not like I live actually in the city, but it's like just enough for me to, old man about it a little bit. I know that people gotta get by. Maybe I'm just like, I don't know, maybe I've just gotten really used to the quietude that comes with cars. And also just haven't been driving. Have not been driving. None of, so Nate's car's here. It's me, Jackie, and each of us have a car, and all 3 of them have just been, for at least the last, 10 days or however long, have just been seated. They've just been benched. I think I might have driven mine once last weekend, actually. I think I drove it on Saturday because Jackie and I had talked about going on a drive, and she ended up not feeling up to it, but I was like, oh, you suck! You fucking kidding me with that. God damn it. Are you fucking kidding me? That's the shittiest. So a fairy, a wall fairy or pot fairy or whatever, popped out of something in the wall during the first floor boss fight and immediately shot me. I was wondering what the noise was, realized that it was a pot fairy and went to blank, and by the time my blank went off, I was already hit. So that's a really, really unfortunate start, and it's also going to really, really hurt our, okay, well, wouldn't matter. It's going to hurt our money-making prospects for this floor, and it's going to hurt our survivability overall, which is kind of terrifying to think about, because we already used the half heart that we had dropped, and we're just here with this now. So, Lead God is not likely, or not possible without a clone, so we don't have to worry about that, but man, this is a fucking rough start. I didn't expect the pilot to have such a problematic original floor, first floor, initial, not original. I mean, he always kind of does, but it's like, this is real fucking bad. The key's good. We didn't make enough money. The gun is good. But this is still a terrifying start. We didn't make enough to get the compressed air tank. This, I might honestly get that and just be like, it might just be worth it. All right, well, check here. That's not good enough to ease our fears. We're going to spend the rest of our money on that, and then we're going to get out of here. Like, that was bad enough to really, really put us behind. And it was not quick. This is kind of going to speed things up, the heroin. I mean, it speeded up over just using the road special, of course, but like, it's a slow gun. This is also a very fucking slow gun at this point. It's not going to be till the end of the third floor that it might be a little better. If I don't fuck up anymore. Dude, maybe I should just never, ever start by saying that I think I need to go quickly. Like, that fight, there was nothing I could have done about that. That was pure horseshit. And I don't accept any, besides the fact that I was starting a run, or starting the first floor boss fight with just the rogue special, which happens all the time. And despite the fact that I got hit a second time, I still believe that I could not have flawless that with the situations that I had, unless I had gotten that blank off the second I heard the sound. Yeah, these shrooms have a shitload of health. I learned that last time. I mean, I guess I kind of knew it, but I never thought about it because they're so manageable for the most part, but man, they live forever. That's like the ship that the McBain's partner had. Oh, good. I saw that bullet. This is a bad start. They'll live forever. There's a character in this game that's a reference to the same kind of trope. The one day from retirement police officer trope that gets murdered in the line of duty. Trap room. We'll come back to it. I'm gonna teleport to right outside of it. Right now, I'm really gonna protect my my neck a bit. Me under the table, all you want. Those are that new Fiona Apple album a couple days ago, and it's been like, I didn't love it when I listened to it, but it is really, some of the songs at least are really, really sticking with me. I'm not a huge Apple head, but she's got something that pulls me in, like the song Incredible or Extraordinary Machine. God damn it. Was one that I just fucking loved for a while. It's like when I was really big into John Bryan, like after Punch Drunk Love came out and Eternal Sunshine for the Spotless Mind, I really started listening to his music, and then I realized that Fiona Apple worked together with him for the Extraordinary Machine album. That song, the first and the last song on that album are like just absolutely incredible. The problem I have with Fiona Apple and with maybe the, I don't know, I feel like wrong bringing this up, but like sometimes it feels like there are performers or storytellers or whatever that really, really fixate on a single subject to the point where, like, I understand that's Fiona Apple's brand. Her whole thing is like angry and upset about the way that she's been mistreated in the past, right? Like that's her bread plus butter, and I don't begrudge her for focusing on her strengths, but man, it seems so one note when like so many of her songs are specifically about that. This is coming from me, who has talked about the same 4 subjects for 900 videos and played the same singular game for that entire time. But you know, I'm just complaining about things that I do when I see them in other people, and that's totally fine by me. But no, it's like, I think one of the things I liked about Extraordinary Machine, personally, was the fact that it seemed like more of self-positivity instead of anger towards others, and the more of a fixation on the individual strengths than the shortcomings of everyone else. And that to me is always going to be a little bit more exciting. Okay, so that's one curse. Exciting or interesting to hear, because I guess everyone can, like, it's easy to blame others, but to focus on your own strengths is kind of like, it's kind of a harder thing to do, to really, like, just, I don't know. And this is, like, I've heard myself talk about this before, where, like, I'm like, you know, being negative is worse than saying nothing or whatever. But, like, I genuinely feel it in this case. Like, Fiona Apple has inspired a lot of people to fixate on the way that others have mistreated them instead of moving past them and being stronger in the end, or just focusing on their own strengths. And I think this is, like, I know I hear myself sounding kind of sexist even saying this, but, like, I feel like a lot of 90s, like, that's why the girl power movement was so much better than the, I feel better than the whole, like, soulful songwriter, everybody's been rude to me my whole life and I still made it kind of movement. I know that, like, Spice Girls were not talented musicians, but I loved it when women were, like, more focused on the strengths that they have than the things that people took away from them, the way that they were belittled. And it takes a balance of both. It's very important to point out. Oh boy. Okay, we're going for that. You don't need to be silent about the bad that's happened. It's a part of the story, but, like, that's just it. It should be a part of the story, not another entire album about, like, how everybody hated her at different points in her life. It's... Fuck. That was such an unnecessary dodge there. Ugh. I'm feeling real yucky about this run. You know, I have absolutely no right to, like, judge what artists do with their work. And I'm not, I guess I don't feel like I'm judging it so much as critiquing an album. But it's something that I get kind of like, I don't know, I like hearing the other side where she's like, I've become this incredible person because of these struggles. It feels like it should be as much of the discussion as the shit sucks, people treated me bad side of the discussion. Like, I don't know. But I definitely feel like it's not my place to tell anybody what to write a song about. And I don't believe that's what I'm trying to do, but I can see how it could really be read that way. Really could bread that way. And I mean, I've brought it up plenty of times that I hate when anything is fixated on one subject too much. Like, hip-hop, something that I grew up adoring, is like notoriously awful for telling the same story, having the same subject matter, and I can't stand it. It's really hard for me to listen to hip-hop. Even some of the older stuff is just like, it's rough because it's so singular in its focus, and we don't need to hear from literally everyone about the kind of money they've made and the kind of drugs they've done and the kind of women they slept with. It's just tedious. So we have 2 curse now. Made it through the boss, okay, at least. It's just tedious. Anything that's just like, it feels like before I started listening to Fetch the Bolt Cutters, I kind of was like, do I want to listen to a Fiona Apple style album? And it's like, well, people are saying it's good. I think Pitchfork Media gave it its first 10 out of 10 in a decade. Since, you know, I mean, since Kanye West's Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which I haven't listened to, so I can't judge. But I maybe should have not. If that's the other 10 out of 10, maybe it's just Pitchfork and I don't have the same viewing angle about music. But I've really liked Fiona Apple in the past, and that's why I think I went towards it with a bit more optimism. And it just sucks to hear like a different version of the same subject matter. Like, the album's got some real good ones though. I think Under the Table is really good. I think Fetch the Bolt Cutters itself is like really fun to listen to. Just because I bought that purely out of desperate need to have some defense. Another Amulet is really good. We are not going to the Abbey because of my own shittiness. We didn't end up getting any way to steal, and we've spent all of our money, so we're taking 1 key down. We're gonna go. The Abbey thing was not an intentional run. I don't know, speeder upper. Like, I really wanted to go there, and I'm really, like, pretty fucking nervous about this run, so the weird egg does give me a sense of security. Oh my god. Alright, the weird egg gives me less of a sense of security if that's how I'm gonna fucking handle just regular rooms. is, I don't know, it's like, so there's a joke by Ron White where he's recalling being at like a military base doing a comedy show. Ron White is one of the rednecks of comedy, or whatever the fuck they're called, blue collar comedy tour guys, and he's genuinely funny. He's got a little bit of like, I mean, he gets like fucking sloshed on stage, I think, most of the time. But even still, he's got some good ones, and he's got one line where he's like, he was telling this thing, and he's like, I hear there's like 40,000 people at this base, and then, God damn it! And a woman in the front row goes, yeah, and not even one of them's a good lay, or something like that. And it's like, I'm telling this joke very, very poorly, which is the problem of ever telling a comedian's joke. But, and he says, it's like, maybe after about 30,000 of them, maybe you think, maybe it's just you? And it's like, Fiona Apple, if every single fucking relationship that you're in ends with you realizing that the guy was a piece of shit, maybe either one, all guys are pieces of shit, and it's time to move on from guys, or two, like, there's another common element that I won't necessarily mention for fear of backup. And I'm not victim blaming, because it's just one of those things that I feel like you have to do. You have to, like, accept some personal responsibility if things in your life continue to go down the exact same path over and over. I don't think that that's a shitty thing to say. Maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like the story being told is that some people have it where everybody they interact with is bad and bad for them and controlling, and deserves an entire freaking album written about how shitty their behavior was in their relationship, instead of it being like, maybe fucking, like, address some personal issues, Fiona. Like, maybe change your taste. Maybe stop dating the same kind of shitty, controlling dudes. I just don't know. It's gotta be a more multifaceted discussion, and that's not what happens on, I mean, no one's gonna release an album like, I was kind of the problem all the time, you-diddy-doo-diddy-doo. Like, that doesn't sell. That's not what her demo is looking for, and that's probably not honestly how she feels, because no one really thinks that they're the problem, myself included, until much later. It takes a little hindsight to get to that point in some situations. But anyway, it's still got some freaking hits on it. Like, I genuinely feel like I'm not as capable at liking music as I was in the early 2000s. The first decade of the 2000s, I was all about it. I was in high school and college. It was in 2003 I listened, or 2001 or two, probably two, I listened to the Beatles for the first time. Like, my experience with music started late, but it was college where I just kind of like, I really leaned into it, and it's hard to find music I like as much as I liked back then. Oh my god, we might have to get that. This is a weird run to go after a bunch of curse, but it's also kind of not a weird run because of the cursed bullets, of course. Eee. It's weird because of my performance. It's a blue chest. Come on. But the line's like, I would beg to disagree, but begging disagrees with me. So I have two. It's 5.5. And it's another speed boost. Okay. And it's a fucking thing. Let's see. Let me make sure something. So it's mirror 3.5. Yeah, 5.5. So that's some damage. And the cup of coffee synergized with something I don't think it matters what. Dang. That was a good haul there. Megan disagrees with me. Sometimes I think my reasoning for being so, like, against... Those were both guns? Against that kind of one-sided discussion is purely, like, defensive. I definitely will admit that there's some defensiveness in that, and and I kind of hate, you know, having to accept that as fact. But, the other thing is, like, I don't know, I think about, like, my niece. I think about one day having a daughter or something like that, like Moses and Aaron's kid, and just, like, this penchant for so many people to, like, kind of find fault in others in everything that they do. It's like, it's so easy. It's much easier than the kind of harsh introspection that comes with the realization that, you know, maybe you're not the protagonist in every story, in every instance. Maybe sometimes you're the like, shithead at fault. And, wow, lucky. And I think it's, what? Okay. But, you know, and I didn't always accept that maybe I was the problem maker in my own life, and sometimes I know I still don't. I got the microphone, I get to tell the story. It's really easy to see yourself as either the hero or the victim and not as much else. Let's just fucking... Ooh, good. Nope. Let's drop this and shoot it. I know it's not going to be as good as it can be. Oh my god, it's better than it possibly could be. But, you know, it takes a little bit of, like, cold hard truth looking to realize that, man, there's some self-sabotage in life. Sometimes you're just the one who was not right for a set situation. And, like, I feel like the Fiona Apple albums are too much blame casting, you know? It's too much finding the flaws of others and presenting that as the entire story. Like, not that I can ever point to an example of when that isn't the true way that it happened, but, like, it just feels... I guess maybe it's my, like, the inherent, like, pattern recognition part of the brain that makes me think that, like, there's no way it could be the same thing every single time. Oh, the ability to steal would be so good. But maybe a little late. If there's one common thread, you know, the human mind says, like, that's the thing. And maybe that's a bit more, correlational than causational, but I don't know, man. We gotta remember to go to that guy. Ooh, baby buddy. Get him out of here. It's like when you... Okay, so say there's like a character who's a kid who just thinks that the world is against them, and they have no way to handle anything because the world is, like, out to get them. Whenever you interact with that character, there's a tendency to, like, not believe that it's possible that it could always be... Ah! I both lost my gun and fucking got hit. God damn it. I don't think anybody buys it if someone tells them that their whole life everybody's been awful to them, or even if they do buy it, it just kind of feels like, well, what have you done to fix it? And I like, that sounds really, really harsh, but like, after your fourth like breakup album where you were with a guy who wouldn't let you express yourself, just I don't know, you know what I'm saying. I feel like even saying it is leading myself to a greater likelihood of a situation in which I say something I wish I could take back. Especially because I like really genuinely respect the skill that Fiona Apple brings to a lot of her music. She's got such an incredible ear, an incredible voice, and like is really talented and smart, but then like makes all these albums about how everybody's shitty to her and that's it. Like, those are the kind of people you really want to see like open up, use their skill for just something positive. I had so many blanks and I fucking whipped that hard on that boss. That's alright. We already fucked up our lead god. We're not gonna get anything on this run, I don't feel. Maybe a Lich Flawless. But that's gonna, you know, we'll figure that out when we get there. It could take 1 second to throw that one off of center. But if you're just looking for an album with some good goddamn songs on it, that's an album with some good goddamn songs on it. Dude, I hate this fucking item. Fetch the bolt cutters. Well, we're not doing bad in terms of items or anything. I'm just gonna fucking, you can't drop it, right? And we'll get rid of this because I don't like it. We can just use the wood beam if we need to. I'll steal something on the next floor, get my last bit of curse. It'll be 6.5, which is perfect. I would like some armor to make up for my tear. Oh, I got one piece, okay. One piece like the anime. Anime. Yo, that was like right up in my shit, dog. There we go, do that, slow them down. Is there 3 of them? No, there's not 3. I think this room might be one of the Forge's shittiest locales. Dude, I don't know what's wrong with me. There's so many like forced errors or unforced errors where I just like, what's the term in baseball? The one where, yeah, it's probably unforced errors where like, basically I'm doing shitty by my own hand. No one's helping me. I'm just like, I'm not even in rough situations. I'm just going like, well, maybe if I just jump forward here when there's a line of bullets heading my way, it'll somehow be for the better. Beefer. I like can't set the explosive decoy because I believe that while I'm charging it'll kill me. It'll just explode instantly. And I don't want to risk it. I've already done enough stupid shit this run. What? I totally pressed the button there. yikes. Ooh. This guy has a ton of health, or either he was invulnerable during a lot of that. Invulnerable. What else? There's this band that I like. I mean, I listened to it and I liked a couple songs from called Chairlifts. There's also Laurel who does the, I think she does a song called, I can't remember. The song that that really pulled me in was one called Tiger Milk. I don't think it was a single from the album, because the single is a song that I recognize either from Girl Talk or on its own from the 2000s indie scene. I think the album's from 2009. It's ROUX. I think because of the Fiery Furnace. Oh, damn it. The Fiery Furnaces and Deerhoof and stuff like that. I'm getting a lot of, like, I'm getting primarily female artist suggestions. And it's fucking dope because there's some good shit that I never listened to that's popping up on my Spotify recommendations. I guess there's a lot of female musicians that I actually was listening to already. Deerhoof, Blonde Redhead, that other band that I already said the name of, Fiery Furnaces. These are all bands that sometimes have male singers. I'm realizing now. That are primarily female singers. I was gonna say Belle and Sebastian, but I haven't listened to them in forever, and I don't really plan on listening to BNS ever again. I think they outstayed their welcome. Whoops. Well, whatever. But I don't know. I can't even remember bands that I listened to recently. Alright, 6.5. That's the curse number I want. And getting some damage in the process is not bad. Well, we got 2 sources of damage. The item itself and the thing. The other thing. That's what I should have given ammo to. Oh well. These are 2 weapons that are not very good together because they're so similar, but oh fuck. I will get every one of these blanks back. Stop holding on to them. What I won't get back is the health. Yeah, I don't know. Chairlifts has been really growing on me. There's also this guy named Cornelius, a Japanese guy, who his most recent album, I think it's his most recent album, has really been growing on me. And he's someone I'm just hearing of for the first time ever because of Spotify. And it's like, it's weird because his earlier stuff seems like more, not J-pop, but like J-pop adjacent. And the stuff that I'm finding on Spotify is like interesting and all over the place. It kind of seems like one of those guys that was like the Beatles story where they like started off very specifically doing popular music and then decided to really like let loose, or like they made their fame on popular music and then decided like I want to start doing music for me instead of music for money. And it's really cool. It's kind of all over the place. I think like the album that I first heard of his is like a remastered version of something called Points that might have been an older one or just a remastered version, I don't know. But It has a cover of the song Brazil from the movie Brazil, which is a movie that I really, really like. And it's done in kind of like a... God, there's this old program that was the first, like... At least for me, it was the first text-to-vocals, text-to-speech program out there. I don't even think it was called that. But it was like this robotic voice that would read what you said. And it was, I think it was a part of ICQ or a similar program. Part of a messenger program or something. I don't know. It was cool, and it's definitely showing my age. And Unity is fucking amazing. Wow. We could steal this and then drop this and still be at 6.5. Yeah, da 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 do. Yeah, da 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 do. Yeah, da 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 do. Together still. Dun, 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 dun. Recalling thrills of our love. Yeah, diddy da da dee dee dee. Do 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 do. I don't know. That's a good song. That's a good song. Good movie. And you know that song obviously gets extra points for being connected to a movie that I really adore. But I think it's a good song anyway. And that is not the first song on that album that I that caught my eye, because that would be kind of a cop-out. Like, you should not necessarily love a band if the first song, or I mean, you should give them a chance maybe, but like, I feel like it's kind of an easy in for a band to get popular off of a cover first, such as Marilyn Manson or I don't know. I can't think of anybody else. Oh, Marilyn Manson fucking did the shit out of that shit. He did that Eurythmics song. And, Alien Ant Farm is another band that did such and such. I'm not going to take those, unfortunately. They did a Michael Jackson song as the world was growing to despise Michael Jackson. A garage rock band decided to do a cover of a song and just fucking made out like hot money cake guys. And you know, good for them or whatever. But like, it's weird when people, their first song or their biggest song is just a rehash. Something that somebody else did that they're just doing. Like a slight spin. I don't even know who does the cover of Mad World, but like, I remember when I heard the original, like, Mad World is that song that got really popular because it's the closing song on Donnie Darko. And they like slow it down. It's like, all around me are familiar faces. It's like pretty, you know, mellow as fuck. But the original is really like high energy and kind of like, it's kind of like an ass-kicking song about the insanity of the world instead of like, you know, the metal I've been crushed by the weight of the world. And it's such a different feel, and in my opinion, a better feel for the actual lyrics of the song. But I think for a long time the cover was the quintessential version of that song in a lot of people's mind. Maybe it still is. I don't fucking know. Who cares? It's not about me. It's just like, I guess I'm always going to feel weirded out by a band growing to notoriety and extreme success off of doing a cover of someone else's work. And I probably shouldn't, because there are plenty of people who have spent their entire career just like taking the work of songwriters and looking pretty in front of them or whatever. Like men and women. There's enough. You could fill a record store with people who never wrote one lick of any of their songs, and oh damn, we went the wrong way. And like are still living in mansions because of that. Like it's a fucking business. It's a business through and through, and it's a little too late to be upset about the way the business operates. But I don't have to. Like covers are just, it's 2 steps removed from that, where someone else a lot of the time had a big part of the original, and then it's like it was already a fucking success. Sometimes a cover that is based off of a more obscure song feels worse because it's like I don't know, someone put all of their effort into this and probably passed on in relative obscurity, while some fucking kids 30 years later are slowing it down and going an octave up and just like rolling in bank. Like I think a lot about Grizzly Bear. They have a song called "He Hit Me," which is a cover of a song by the Crystals. I don't know how popular the Crystals were. I don't listen to a lot of like 60s soul music or whatever. But as a song about someone essentially romanticizing domestic violence, what shit, from the point of view of the victim of the domestic violence, not from the inflictor. And it's weird and creepy, and it just feels super wrong, and it uses those vocals that Grizzly Bear, those kind of like Beach Boys-ish harmonizing vocals, to like a really great degree, but it's still someone else's song that exists in relative obscurity to the 40 years later rehash of it. I don't know, but you know, we keep listening to girl talk here. That's just someone making soup of other people's songs. It's just mashing them all together. Like mashups are the least involved, and I'm still like, that's cool. They had such a good ear to find these 2 songs that had exactly the same tempo. Like, I don't know. I think I justify it for Girl Talk because he gives away most of his albums for free, and that feels like, at least in my mind, that's enough to make him one of the good ones. He's probably still living in a mansion, or he was living in a mansion beforehand, because nobody makes a career out of any one thing and then makes no money off of it. Or he's found other ways to monetize it. I don't know. It's just, it doesn't matter how I feel about it. I know this conversation has been had 10 million times since De La Soul started the idea of a song remix. People have been, and since the Beatles had the first instance of sampling, I think they sampled their own music. Like there's a David Byrne and Brian Eno album where the whole thing, like from the 70s, My Life in the Bush of Ghosts, where the whole thing is just like found audio. I should not have taken that jump. That was really dumb and really lucky. And I love that fucking album. It's like weird and all over the place, but it's so freaking good. And I understand that I'm a huge hypocrite. Like, I have to accept that fact. Yeah, the reason I brought this up is because I was talking about how much I love Cornelius's cover of Brazil. But still, it shouldn't be your only pull. And it's not his. Another point of view, or another viewpoint, I think there are 2 songs with very similar names that I constantly get confused on that album. It's just so good. Oh, and that reminds me, today, I'm sorry I'm jumping all over the place because I'm still kind of just high energy. I don't know. Today is, I'm going to remember to look up Stereolab and listen to their shit again instead of ever finding anything new. I'm going to keep listening to the same fucking albums. Yikes. Because that's music, baby. I found what I loved in 2007. Jesus Christ, I'm moving too fast. And it's really hard for me to accept that anything since then is any good. I don't actually think that other stuff is bad. It's just like, I can't do it. It's like, I already got it. I'm all full up. White twilight of the sky above, recalling thrills of our love. Oh, I'm so glad I had the balloon gun. Oh my god. There's still one thing I'm thinking of. That's a fucking Lich Flawless with the luckiest near sabotage to date. 364. This is like this. Oh, I turned my computer off. 364. Yeah, I had to hit another button before I hit the button. Ba ba da ba 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 bum bum. Bum ba da bum 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 bum. Bum ba da bum 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 bum. Bum bum. Bum ba da bum 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 ba da ba da. Bum ba dum bum 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 ba da ba dum bum 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 ba dum ba da ba dum bum. That was a shitty job. Glad it worked out in the end, though, all things considered.